Oh, it's such an honor. I'm getting to tuck you in for story time with A Long Way Home. So I want to invite you to just take a deep breath in and then just sigh out. And just put your right hand on your heart. And know that whether you've traveled the world or whether you've stayed in one town, one place, that all of our journeys bring us back to our breath, to our heart, to taking leaps and trusting the lessons from our stories. So feel your own journey in this moment and take a deep breath. And relax your arms down. So I'm going to read you my foreword and then a little bit of my New York City chapter and a little bit about American Cowboys. Welcome to you, the reader. Thank you for taking the pause in your life to shift from the human doing to the human being and to be present with this work called A Long Way Home. I dedicate this book to my amazing, radiant daughters, Summer and Claire Wild Bill, who inspire me every day. And to you in this room right now, and to those of you listening, wherever you're hearing this from, I dedicate this book to you as well. This book has been percolating inside of me for decades, as I'm 55 years of age now, more than a half a century into my life journey. I've often questioned, what will my first book look like? And I want to open with this quotation that came to me this morning when I started writing this book while I was meditating on my balcony listening to the river. In happiness, we may rise and fall. In peace, we allow it all. I hope that what you're about to hear through my stories, my life journey, takeaways from love, loss, and life will help you find a sense of peace. Not only will this book be stories and takeaways, yet it will also include tools to heighten our emotional intelligence through cultivating consciousness of breath. So take a breath again right now and just sigh out. I want to invite you to take 10 deep breaths in this moment, all of you, those in the room and those watching across social media. Let's all just breathe together. Allowing the inhale, allowing the exhale, feeling and cultivating consciousness of breath. My intention is to guide this journey and remind us to breathe and remind myself to breathe along the way. I'm feeling a little nervous in this moment as I've decided to let this book flow. I allowed flows rather than chapters to unravel organically in the moment that I was recording initially the audiobook. I'm releasing the need for chapters, releasing the need for the intro, the body, and the conclusion. And I'm letting go of the need for the standard book structure of what is supposed to be. I have a Master of Science in Journalism from Columbia University and focused on writing and documentary filmmaking. I want this book, A Long Way Home, to symbolize something deeper. The ability to give ourselves permission to allow an organic unraveling to flow in our life in the present moment. That's part of the foreword. And I'm just going to read part of my New York City chapter. So thank you for staying with me. And the picture is Flow 1. And it's a picture of me holding a balloon as a little girl in Central Park in New York City. I hope this moment, whether you're watching on social or whether you're in this room right now, brings you to the place that shaped me as a woman. Flow 1, growing up in New York City. I was born at Roosevelt Hospital in New York City to my amazing parents, Hans and Carola Vandenhouten. I grew up on the Upper West Side on the 79th and Broadway in a beautiful landmark building called the Apthorpe. I grew up at a time where small mom and pop shops lined the neighborhood. Woolworths was across the street and I could smell H&H Bagels cooking their onion bagels with the fresh oven-baked smell seeping out the front door. Then a block away was the iconic Zabar's, still there, and a few blocks away up from there was the restaurant Teachers. There was Big Nick's Burger Joint with huge sumo burgers and Eeyore's Bookstore and Shakespeare and Company, which now opened again. La Caridad had all the big old yellow taxi cabs parked out front. And after school, I'd often go eat some fried plantains, black beans, and yellow rice. The Upper West Side, when I was growing up, had such a magical charm of small mom and pop shops. Returning years later, there are now so many empty storefronts and the taking over of corporate America. This sad evolution of corporate growth knocked out so many small businesses, and with that took the charm away of the old Upper West Side. There's no more H&H Bagels, Big Nick's Burgers, Eeyore's Bookstore, La Caridad, which is now on 72nd Street, or Woolworths. The closing of chapters, symbolic of life, that nothing is permanent. Like the river outside my window, change is inevitable. And I'll close there for the New York City chapter. And then I'm going to share a little bit from American Cowboys. American Cowboys was an award-winning documentary that I co-wrote, produced, and directed with my ex-husband, father of our daughters, still wonderful friend, Cedric Wildbill. My book writing professor at Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism, Samuel G. Friedman, was a Pulitzer Prize winner and an award-winning New York Times columnist. My broadcasting professor and mentor was named Peter Herford. Peter Herford, who had worked for 27 years at CBS with Charles Kuralt, called me into his office shortly before May of 1995 graduation and said, "I have a surprise to tell you. Professor Herford knew my story about leaving Texas Associated Press and moving to the Umatilla Indian Reservation. He said, Charles Kuralt is going to be the keynote speaker at your graduation and will be handing you your diploma." That was incredible news. When I graduated from Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism, Charles Kuralt of CBS News on the road handed me my Master of Science diploma in journalism from Columbia University. Cedric and I had maintained a long-distance relationship, and Cedric between Oregon and New York while I was working on my Master of Science in journalism. Just a few weeks before I was graduating, he asked me to get engaged and to marry him. Shortly after my graduation, I moved to the Umatilla Indian Reservation in Pendleton, Oregon. A professor at Columbia had said to our class, "Statistics show if you don't do a documentary within 6 months of graduating, it's never going to happen. Go manifest your story." When I arrived in Pendleton, Oregon, I told Cedric we had a time frame of 6 months to be working on our documentary. Cedric had a degree in television production from Mount Hood Community College and had worked as a media coordinator for Boeing in Richland, Washington. Fate brought two people together who had a background in media to meet on a hot summer day at a mailbox on a country road. The big question that haunted us both was, what story were we going to tell? We wanted to co-produce, write, and direct a documentary together. One day we were at the Pendleton Public Library, and in a pile of dust in the library, we saw a reel of film footage that said 1911 Pendleton Roundup. Cedric and I And the three biggest rodeos in the world are Cheyenne, Wyoming, Calgary, Canada, and the Pendleton Roundup, Pendleton, Oregon. The Pendleton Roundup is the only grass arena in America, and Native Americans come from all over the country. Cedric and I were in the basement of the public library, and the librarian showed us the scratchy, jittery old 1911 black and white film footage. And on the screen, in the dimly lit basement, on the screen appeared Jackson Sundown on a bucking bronc. Jackson Sundown was a Nez Perce tribal member who, at the age of 53, became the first Native American to win the Classic Saddle Bronc Championship at the 1916 Pendleton Roundup. After surviving the 1877 Nez Perce retreat with Chief Joseph. Then emerged on the screen George Fletcher, the first African American to compete for a world title in the Classic Saddle Bronc Championship. In that moment, I glanced at Cedric, who had tears rolling down his cheeks. As a young boy, Cedric used to ride across the wheat fields sitting on George's lap. He would run the dogs under the fence to join George. Cedric spent many hours sitting in George's trailer hearing stories that touched his heart forever. George Fletcher lived in a trailer on Tuttawilla Church Road on the Umatilla Indian Reservation at Cedric's grandparents' property. Together we raised our daughters and spent the next 23 years together of our lives on that same land. With that, I will stop because I don't want to give too much of the story away. But a long way home, the heart of my book is to learn the lessons from our stories, to slow down enough, to ask ourselves, in the good, the bad, and the ugly, what am I being shown? What am I being taught? Where can I grow? And where can I learn? And the reminder to leap and to trust our inner compass and to walk our authentic path. May we all find a long way home and put our hands on our heart right now, whether you're watching on social or in this room. Take a deep breath into our hearts and know that you are divine. Trust your path. Thank you for listening.